Welcome into the bunker of General Gridiron, field marshal of football forecasting. We're about to map out the way this college football weekend is going to go. Will your favorite team be marching to victory, or will the enemy be taking your battle flag? Hey, if you haven't had the old ticker check lately, you oughta. If this weekend's lineup of college football contest has the kind of upsets we saw last weekend, cardiologists everywhere are going to have even more bundles of money to put in their pockets. So grab your helmet and man those battle stations. We're ready for another round of General Gridiron's football foretelling. Tennessee at Alabama. It's about time these two rivals looked at a calendar and figured out that if your historic feud is dubbed third Saturday in October, then it would be nice to align the kickoff with the calendar. That might be the only coordinating going on at Bryant-Denny, as topsy-turvy Tennessee heads south praying for a miracle. And that miracle ain't to win, it's to keep the Sabinators from completely embarrassing the Vols any more than they have to. It's not a good time to sport a coonskin cap. Really, when has it ever been? The Hurts will put the hurts on the Smoky Mountain boys, and big fat cigars will be lit in a Roll Tide rhapsody. The Generals victor, Alabama. UCF at Navy. Although the Middies took on too much water during last week's voyage to Memphis, they've been in dry docks all week searching for the solution for the team's first L of the year. And you can bet your Bill the Goat, Admiral Ken Niumatalolo will be ready to set sail at kick. Sadly for the seafarers, Central Florida has a real chance of being the Group of Five selection into the marquee bowl lineup this holiday season. And the Orlando Gladiators ain't going to gallop north and then play a Mickey Mouse game. Scott Frost and company will take their best stab at the Mammals and escape with win number 6 for the number 20 team. The Generals victor, UCF. Oklahoma at Kansas State. The General just knew his fellow wise man, Bill Snyder, was set to pull the shocker of TCU last Saturday. That didn't happen. So the AARP's most active member gets to act wise beyond his years and shoot for another chance to turn Manhattan into mayhem. So FBS football's oldest coach, at 78, faces off against the game's youngest coach, 34-year-old Oklahoma skipper Lincoln Riley. The math's been done. That's a 44-year age difference between them. And as the Cats and Sooners scuffle, Snyder's astute and battle-scarred years will come in quite handy versus little Lincoln. The Generals victor, K-State. South Florida at Tulane. Okay, who predicted at the start of the season these two American foes would meet in late October and neither would have a losing record? Actually, the Greenies are batting .500 at 3-3, but my oh my, Charlie Strong's fuming bovines are staying ahead of the Matador and are El Perfecto. Quentin Flowers surpassed 3,000 yards career rushing during his last outing for USF. That win over Cincinnati marked the Tampa School's 11th straight win. When the strong men sneak into the outskirts of the French Quarter, no amount of Tulane's laissez le bon temps relay will sidetrack this raging bull. The Generals victor, South Florida. Kentucky at Mississippi State. Big Blue Nation packed it out the other night for an incredible celebration of their star athletes and a pretty good coach too. But this didn't happen at Commonwealth Kroger Field. This was the Madness event celebrating the start of UK basketball practice. Since this squad enjoyed a much-deserved break last weekend, Cat football commander Mark Stoops didn't feel jilted by his fan base. His 5-1 felines would love nothing more than for fans to forget about hoops for a few months. And down in Mississippi, Kentucky will silence the Cowbells and cut the Davis-Wade Nets down in front of their cross-divisional rival when this one wraps. The Generals victor, Kentucky. Still to come on this college football forecast, the prodigal son returns. Ed Orgeron is back in Oxford as his current club, LSU, battles the previous employer, football. And old Biggie's brethren, the Q's and the U, have a happy reunion in Miami. One just beat the defending national champ, the other remains unscathed. General Gridiron returns in a moment with more exciting picks.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
General Gridiron back with you. Thanks for sticking with us. Each week, this fabulous football forecast is heard on some of the finest radio stations all over the country. In Walhalla, South Carolina, 101.7 WGOG, the Golden Corners radio station, and the home of Walhalla Razorbacks high school football. And WTBF FM 94.7 in Brundage, Alabama, home of next weekend's Peanut Butter Festival and Nutter Butter Parade. Yummy! We appreciate all of our radio affiliates. Now, let's get back into the football fight. Michigan at Penn State. Nittany Lion is living large. His Gridiron heroes have sailed through the Big Ten unblemished, and thanks to Clemson taking the night off in Syracuse, he's ascended to the number 2 spot in the latest polls. It can't get much happier in Happy Valley, unless you add another win to the column. The Maize and Blue had to work extra last week to escape Bloomington with the win, but Harbaugh's hard knockers won't have to turn in their OT time slips in this dandy. And channeling Bachman-Turner overdrive, the home team will be taking care of business, all in 60 minutes. The Generals victor, Penn State. LSU at Ole Miss. Yo returns to the spot where it all started. Back in 2004, the brilliant minds leading the University of Mississippi fired David Cutcliffe and hired little-known, totally in over his head, Ed Orgeron. But you can't blame Coach O for that, and the horrible 3 years he skippered the team to losses aplenty. Fast forward 10 years, and the Rebels' arch-rival has hired the Cajun coach to steer their Pierrots out of the muddy bayou of irrelevancy. During the last decade, Orgeron has definitely learned on the job, and he'll use that proving ground Ole Miss gave him to get back to the Grove and beat the Sharks senseless. The Generals victor, LSU. Syracuse at Miami. The General has a star save for Coach Dino and the Orange Men of Syracuse. It was Friday the 13th, after all, when the coach's high-octane performers took down number 2 Clemson. The Qs needed that win in the biggest way, and it reminded all the naysayers about the rich history the ACC school enjoys. And if you love college football history, well, Miami has a book or ESPN documentary to share. It's starting to feel like Gino, Bernie, Michael, they've all returned when you see the Canes unbeaten and storming back into the top 10. This Hard Rock Stadium afternoon delight will make the sparse home crowd gloat for another week. The Generals victor, Miami. Auburn at Arkansas. Woo pig, what the heck? Is a coaching change coming in Fayetteville? Unless Big Ten Brett dramatically changes things, you can bet your Harley that the natives will be restless and ready for new blood to lead this team back to national prominence, something that arguably hasn't happened in 50 years. May I suggest Fort Smith's native boy, Gus Malzahn? After meltdowns like last weekend in Death Valley, the folks over in East Alabama will also have that once every 3-year itch to bring in a new boss. Coaching stability is about as sure as Donald Trump's Twitter account, so nothing will surprise the General when administrators, coaches, and their agents all huddle in late November. In this Saturday night clash, the Belima seat will get even hotter. The Generals victor, Auburn. USC at Notre Dame. Number 11 versus number 13 in the shadow of touchdown Jesus. With the turmoil and craziness of the top 10, Brian Kelly's Irish lads have stealthily licked their wounds after a close loss to Georgia and have improved to 5-1. The men in Troy are ready for this biggest rival. These two teams have played annually since 1926, with the Leprechaun claiming a 46-36 and 5 ties lead in the series. Legend has it that this one is the biggest college football game of the year, not impacted by conference affiliation or geography. Not sure if the 2017 edition lives up to the ghost of yesteryear, but it will be another example of why college football reigns supreme. The Generals victor, the Jeweled Shillelagh goes to Notre Dame. We've already looked at the weekend's biggest battles across the land, but hang on to your helmet. There's more just around the corner. We'll be back in just a second to wrap up this week's General Gridiron with the all-important rapid-fire picks.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. Why would you do that?
Probably okay isn't okay. Call a cab, a car, or a friend.
Good choice.
This is General Gridiron back with you. We've already maneuvered through the weekend number 8 college football showdowns. Now it's time to fix bayonets and storm the field with our rapid-fire football forecast. California captures Arizona. Louisville licks Florida State. Wisconsin crushes Maryland. West Virginia tops Baylor. Iowa in a squeaker at Northwestern. Oklahoma State spurs Texas. Army cavalcades Temple. Georgia Tech stings Wake Forest. Oregon quacks UCLA. Alcorn State remains brave versus Grambling. Texas Tech shushes Iowa State. Duke bedevils Pittsburgh. Virginia keeps the wins a-coming versus Boston College. Washington State gets back on track against Colorado. Michigan State outflanks Indiana. Virginia Tech runs North Carolina right out of Blacksburg. Yale outsmarts Penn. Southern Miss claws Louisiana Tech. TCU beats Kansas, duh. And UTSA cooks Rice. Well, troops, you can now put your swords back in their scabbards. We're all out of picks on this week's edition of General Gridiron. We'll be back again next week. Same General Gridiron time, same General Gridiron station. So don't forget to tune us in on the radio, Facebook, and YouTube TV. And don't forget to tell your friends all about the show. Simply search for General Gridiron. This is John Rawl, the General of Gridiron Glory, thanking you for letting me be a part of your weekend. General Gridiron is a production of CRM Sports. For more, log on to crmsports.com.
That'll be all. Y'all